This Three Beards Media podcast may contain mature themes, and if you're not down with that, we got 3 words for you. Like the podcast. Nailed it!
Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Chris Shipley at Like Father, Like Daughter. We are here. This is episode 10, I guess. I don't know. Somehow we've done this 10 times. So that's not too bad, right? We are going to do a special little episode tonight because we've got a family member that is going through a battle, and we wanted to bring them on and show some support. But before we do that, Caitlin, we'll start with our first segment, which is always what's the best thing that's happened to us since we last had an episode. Again, that's in honor of Mom, who encourages us to be positive. So I, of course, will not mention the fact that I just hung a TV in the garage and I accidentally bumped it and spiderwebbed the TV, and now it doesn't work. So I'm not going to talk about that. So
you wait. We're gonna have to come back to that.
Okay. So the TV that I bought from Cortland,
Yeah.
I hung in the garage today, and at some point when I did that, I must have banged it too hard, and there's a big old crack in the screen now, and it won't come on. So spent an hour in the heat mounting this TV, and now it doesn't work. But again, we're being positive. So what's the best thing that's happened to us since the last episode?
Well, I think the most obvious answer is back in the Jack yesterday, first home game. We beat UNI. I don't think we ever did that while I was in school.
Not by 21 points, that's for sure.
No. So it was really neat to see the team play and try to learn some of the new player names, and Walker got to come, so it was super fun.
Had our first tailgate yesterday, so that was fun. 95-degree heat, not necessarily so fun. Got to see Aunt Julie, so hung out with her. And then Tim has his new job, so he can actually go tailgate. Tim and Sarah were able to go tailgate, so it was a win all around. So
yeah.
All right. Well, nobody tuned in tonight to watch us, so that's fine. So we're gonna go ahead and bring on my cousin. 3 weeks ago, we had Scott Shehan, who is my cousin, my Aunt Joyce's son. So Scott had reached out to me and my cousin Debbie to see if that we'd bring on Scott's brother Pat, who is the older and better looking Shehan, from what I've been told. So Pat, welcome, and thank you for coming on Like Father, Like Daughter.
How's it going?
Good. Appreciate you coming on. So Scott reached out to me because you are having some medical issues. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, why you're the better Shehan than Scott is, and a little bit about what's been going on.
Oh, well, my name's Pat, and I'm one of Scott's older brothers. We have another older brother, Shane, but I spent some time in the Marine Corps, and then I spent the rest of my adult life as a building maintenance technician. I took care of buildings pretty much my whole adult life, and I was able to do that for a little over 40 years. Got pretty good at it after a while. They started paying me better after that. But yeah, it was. I've always had a knack for figuring out mechanical things and making them work. And as long as I knew what it was supposed to do, I could make it do that.
Sure.
Even if I had to make pieces to make it work. So it came in handy.
That's the kind of stuff that kind of blows me away sometimes, because I'm the kind of guy that needs strict instructions and thinking outside the path. Sometimes when it doesn't work, I get a little frustrated and I'm unable to figure it out. So I always admire people that can like, MacGyver that thing to be able to work. You know where the end point is, and you can figure out different ways to get there.
Yeah, that's what you do. You just aim for, okay, it's supposed to do this. I just need to make it do that right now.
I think that's a trait in the Shipleys, anyways. Just overall. So, so what? Let me ask you a little bit about your time in the Marine Corps before we get too deep into the other stuff. When did you join that, and where did you serve at?
I lived in Omaha at the time that I joined, and then they sent me to San Diego. All expenses paid trip to San Diego. It was pretty sweet. Got off the plane. It went south real fast after that. Yeah, boot camp was what I thought it would be, and disgusting. And then I spent most of my time in Okinawa. I was there for almost 3 years. I kept extending until they wouldn't let me extend anymore.
Yeah.
And beautiful place. I mean, of all the places on the planet that I've been, that was probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It was just fantastic. The weather was always nice. We had a couple of hurricanes or typhoons, they call them, but it was we had a couple of those. But even that was polite.
Yeah. Okinawa. So when were you there? About what years?
I was in Okinawa from 84 to 86.
Okay.
I was there about 2.5 years.
Okay, so mid 80s.
It was beautiful. Yeah.
I'll bet. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So then, how long you been married?
I've been married to my current wife for, I believe it's 7 years now. We've been together for 10, but yeah. And,
so where did you guys meet? 6 dogs?
Yeah.
that seems crazy.
Well, when we met, I had 3 and she had 3, and neither one of us were giving up a dog. So
yeah, the blended. When
we decided to cohabitate, the dog in the Brady Bunch, I guess. But we don't. We only have one of the original 6 left now because they've passed away. But people keep dropping dogs off at our house because they know we won't say no. So.
Well, if Bubba barks during this episode, I'll bring him up to you.
I've been trying to tell Dad that I want a dog. Like, I think I need a dog, but I don't have time in the morning and like to take care of a puppy right now. Like, I don't have the ability to come home during the day. So I said, Dad, why don't you run like a daddy daycare for dogs, and it can be Bubba and my new puppy. I don't think he's thrilled on the idea, but I think I can get him there.
Yeah, because I don't have a job. I don't have a full-time job that takes precedence of that.
I know, but some more company,
Okay. So Pat, let's kind of dive in, if you're comfortable with it. Let's dive into what's been going on. I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologize. What's the blood disorder that you have?
I have multiple myeloma, which is a cancer. It's in the bone marrow.
Okay.
And it affects your body's ability to manufacture white blood cells and proteins, and it makes crooked proteins is what it does.
Okay.
And they don't mesh together the way they're supposed to. And I also have AL-amyloidosis.
That's
AL-amyloidosis. Yeah, that is the more dangerous of the two.
Okay.
Mostly because in this instance it is affecting my heart. Mostly it affects your organs and your tendons and ligaments and your immune system, but it's beating up my heart pretty good.
Okay.
And I have to take a massive amount of pills in order to keep the heart pumping at the rhythm it's supposed to and on time the way it's supposed to. It's a serious regimen. You have to just deal with it.
So
the alternative is kind of ugly.
Sure. So, from my experience, when I was diagnosed in 2017 with esophageal cancer, it was only diagnosed because I happened to be passing out, and then they found that I had a tumor in my esophagus. So, what triggered that you were able to find this, or was there an instance that something happened that you went to the doctor and they did some tests? How did they find out or find what you had?
Well, in October of last year, I went to the hospital because I was having some chest pain and some things, couldn't breathe. And so I went to the hospital. I was in the hospital for 4 days, and they were checking it out. They said I'd had some type of cardiac event. They weren't quite sure what it was because it didn't show up on an EKG, but I had some elevated levels in my blood that let them know that there was a cardiac event and something had occurred. And so they got that squared away, and they gave me some medication to control the way the heart works to try and keep it in rhythm. And they sent me home, and I went back to work after a few days, and I worked for I think 3 days, and it happened again, and I ended up back in the hospital again. And that second time, they discovered that I had some organ function issues. My kidneys were leaking protein. My liver function tests were really high, and some of the other blood tests that they took just for my organs in general were just really out of whack. They were way off. So they sent in a nephrologist, a kidney doctor, and he's the one that caught what was happening because he had seen it before somewhere else. It's really rare, but he had seen it before in another patient. So he did some specialized tests to test for this specific thing, and sure enough, it came back that I had this AL-amyloidosis. So then things moved pretty fast after that. They were pretty quick at getting, and I can't say enough good things about the VA system and the way that it works in Omaha. I don't know how it works anywhere else in the world,
right?
But in Omaha, these folks pay attention, and they do care about what happens to you. So I've had nothing but positive experiences there.
That's amazing.
That's go ahead, Kayla.
I was just saying that's really amazing because it's just nice to hear such positivity about those systems that are in place, and that it's working in some places, and that it's just really nice to hear a positive story like that.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, these guys caught it, and I don't know that I had the same doctor for probably 30 years before I started attending the VA, and I don't know, not that he wasn't a fantastic doctor, but he was a GP, and I don't think he'd have caught it. I mean, I'd have had to go up to specialist after specialist after specialist before somebody figured it out. But this guy saw it, recognized it, and was just right on it, and got me to the correct set of doctors to get, there's a whole team of them. I can't even remember all their names.
Sure. So I'm curious, and again, I only asked some of these questions because I went through, a similar, finding out and having the insurer and things like that. Initial thoughts for me were, I immediately thought of my wife and the kids and how they were going to handle things, because I think sometimes as men we want to internalize and just toughen up and see if we can take care of it. How did that initial conversation go with your wife and how you guys were going to handle that?
Yeah, well, of course, I assumed that we would just fix this and I would go back to work and everything would just be fine.
Sure.
And they had to slow it down for me and explain it to me several times that there's no fix for it. There's no, they can treat it, they can't fix it, they can't make it go away. It's not curable. So there was a lot of that, and of course, my mind was still thinking, well, yeah, I can still go do stuff. I can still, and no, I couldn't. There was that first. It got really bad for a little while. After December, which is the second time I went in the hospital. I had trouble walking more than 20, 25 feet. I couldn't, because I'd run out of air. My legs didn't want to work. And my heart was pumping so weird that it was putting fluid all over in weird places in my body, my abdomen, my lungs, my legs, my calves, all the way up past my knees. And it was hard to bend my knees. It was, for my wife, God love her, spent all of, I think, January, February, and March rolling me around in a wheelchair to get from one appointment to the next. And some days I had 5, 6, 7 appointments. I mean, it wore on her, and I'm sure she is an absolute champ. I cannot stress enough how much she has made this even bearable at all through all of this. Yeah, that first few months was just horrifying. It was just, I couldn't do anything. I was useless. I mean, I was sleeping most of the time. The times I could sleep, of course, when you have a heart problem like this and it fills your lungs with fluid all the time, it's hard to sleep for any extended period. I can't sleep 8 hours.
Sure.
Sometimes I can sleep 2 hours, sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes I can get 4 hours in. If I get 4 hours in, I'm feeling pretty good. Right. And then I got to be awake for a while, and then I lay back down and I can maybe sleep another couple hours. But at one stretch, I can't get any more than 4 hours at a time because my lungs just fill up and I can't breathe. I have to sit up and clear all that out. It's just hard to deal with.
So when they found this, is that when they also found the blood cancer, or did that come later after the fact?
Yes, because they did a whole battery of tests at once. And
okay.
This doctor that suspected this also suspected that because there's a certain percentage of people that have AL-amyloidosis that also have multiple myeloma. So he wanted to check for that at the same time, which he did. But then I had to see an oncologist to verify it because, everything has to be verified.
Oh, yeah.
Trust, but verify.
Right.
Well, I went to see the oncologist, and they had to take this corkscrew and shove it into my hip and pull out a chunk of bone and then go look at it under a microscope or something. And that's how they determined that I had the multiple myeloma, was from that they call it a bone marrow sample.
Okay.
That was a pretty hilarious experience. 98-pound doctor trying to shove a corkscrew into my hip, trying to get a sample. Got one foot on the bed and he's shoving and pushing.
Oh man,
it was funny. I wish I had filmed it, but
I listen. Sometimes you gotta take the humor when you can get it. I remember they gave me a PET scan after they had found the initial cancer to check to see if it was anywhere else. And they wheeled me into this room that had lead walls and whatever. And my wife and sister-in-law couldn't even be in the room with me. And they had shot me full of this stuff. And they had to lower the lights and my family couldn't be in the room with me. And I thought, why am I allowed to be in here then? Like, you guys are like, if it's that bad that somebody can't sit in the room with me, you just shot me full of this all this shit. Like, that doesn't seem like that's such a great idea. So you kind of take the humor as you can. So
yeah, and then they go behind that little shield,
right,
before they start turning the machine on for you,
right? Like that's going to be any good, right? Like that's going to do any good. I was a little flabbergasted when they turned the lights down. I was like, really? The fluorescent lights are going to make it worse? So I was like, that's a little ridiculous. But I think what we're going to do here, Pat, is I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to have Debbie come on, and we will talk about your benefit, how things are setting up for that, how people can help, and we can go from there. That work for you?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to just get a quick word from Revelton Distilling Company. If you guys are in the Omaha area or Central Iowa and you want a good whiskey or spirit, check out our friend Rob and Christy Taylor at Revelton Distilling Company. They have some amazing products and stuff like that. So we'll be right back, and then we should have Debbie on.
At Revelton Distilling Company, everyone has become a part of the Revelton family. From the Taylors and their daughter who helped perfect their award-winning gins, to the team who installed Lucy, our 33-foot-tall custom-made still, right down to the local farms that provide our coveted corn, and even the cows on those farms who consume our mash byproduct. Want to see the farm to flask come to life? Now you can tour Lucy and find out where we take Iowa's harvest and transform it into our finest spirits. Choose between a 45-minute tour or find out even more by scheduling a VIP behind-the-scenes tour to get the taste of the full Revelton experience. You can visit them at 1400 West Clay Street in Osceola, Iowa, or find all of Revelton's award-winning spirits at any local grocery or spirits retailer.
Okay, we're back, and Debbie is not responding to my message, even though I told her that it would be about this time. So, Debbie, you're on my list right now. Let's talk about. Let's at least talk a little bit about the benefit. Well, let's talk about this. If you're okay with it, Pat, you're obviously not working. Your wonderful wife is taking care of you and so on. What are some of the hardships here that are going on that you're dealing with right now, if you're comfortable with talking about it?
Sure. It was just it was a long set of circumstances that occurred. I mean, when this started, I had a full-time job that I loved. I loved what I did, and I'd been doing it for a very long time. And I was told straight up, there's no way I could continue to work doing the things that I did, because part of my job was carrying tools and equipment. I could carry as much as 150 pounds of stuff up 3 flights of stairs to go make a repair. I was just physically incapable of doing that anymore. I just could not do the job anymore. And so I went through all the hoops of filling out all the paperwork for disability income and things like that, which did not make me comfortable at all. I've worked my whole life, and that
there I am.
When I got it filled out, they told me that I would have
You can make that for the screen.
I would qualify for this. This condition is an automatic qualifier.
Well, I was just viewing it.
So I thought, well, okay, at least I got that.
I don't want it.
I think almost 6 months to get this going and get an okay and an approval from Social Security Administration for disability income. And then they let you know at the end, after you've jumped through all these hoops, that, oh, by the way, we don't pay you for the first 5 months that you're disabled. So for that first 5 months, you got nothing. And they said, okay, and we're going to start your disability in June. You'll be eligible as of June, but we don't pay you until July. And because of your last name and your initial, we don't pay you till the last Wednesday of July. So
that's ridiculous.
I ended up going 8 months with absolutely no paychecks, none whatsoever.
That's crazy.
And we just lost everything. I mean, we live in our fifth wheel with our 6 dogs, which is fantastic because they love it because it's all snuggly and comfortable. But and my in-laws have allowed us to park it on their property and use their electricity. We pay them for their electricity, but the bills just kept coming. And of course there were medical bills, and it took a while to get any assistance to help pay the medical bills. But there were bills that came in before that I owed for, and pay. I mean, at any rate, our savings is all wiped out. All of our and we owe. I can't tell you how much we owe family and friends for getting us through this. There was no way we'd have made it through all this without the support of family and friends and the incredible people that are surrounding us. It's just, I'm amazed at the outpouring of support from people. Not just financial support, but the emotional and mental support that people have offered has been just instrumental, because you do get depressed, you do get down on yourself. You look at it like it's just this huge hole in your life that you have no idea what you're going to do with. And it's
Sure.
still, there's a lot of uncertainty, but it's a lot better knowing that there are people standing there by your side.
Well, and that's kind of the beauty of this family. I know Debbie has done benefits for a few other family members, and Debbie's done an amazing job on those. So Debbie, thanks for hopping on with us. I appreciate you taking your Sunday evening. So I thought you said you were going to do your hair.
Chris, I knew you were going to say that. I did do my hair. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, it's Aunt Lana! I swear to God, the voice is Aunt Lana. I just got transported back to 1987.
It's my turn. I was gonna say, Dad always said that all his cousins were mean to him. He said I was always the one who got picked on growing up. And what does he do? First thing he says,
payback.
He has to say something about your hair.
That's right.
That's because I'm
starting to think those stories he told me weren't true.
I always thought of Chris as a little annoying brother.
See, I just got my shot in first. That's all.
Because I was the youngest in my family, and he got on my nerves.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like me and Travis. No.
And you guys, Missy and Harry are here with me and Aunt Maggie.
Awesome.
Just kind of joined in. They came over for dinner, so.
Yeah, no, that's great. Actually, Melissa is on my list to have on here because as I told Scott once on the last episode that we had Scott on, I always felt like I missed out on a lot of the Omaha family for whatever reason. We just weren't around. So when I hear stories about Aunt Maggie's pizza parties on Friday nights,
oh yeah,
I'm super sad that I missed that. And so it's a chance for Caitlin to get to know her family in Omaha. This is why we kind of do this podcast. It's really just for us. We could care less if anybody listens, which is lucky because nobody really gives a shit what I have to say anyways.
So I'm going to jump in, Chris, just real quick. The main reason we're doing this is because, yes, Pat needs help. And that is what family is about.
Right.
I might get a little emotional, and I always do. But I want to just say real quick, we are doing this benefit, and it's a free will donation. Okay. So there's no set price. If you can't afford, to pay to eat, come. Let's show Pat. Let's show up in numbers.
Right.
The numbers come. The funds are going to come.
Yep.
And we're starting out with nothing. We can only go up.
Right.
And I would like this to be huge for Pat. But, I also want him to know how much he is cared for.
Right.
So.
No, I 100% agree. When Scott reached out to me, I was immediately like, yes, let's get everybody on. Let's talk about it, because I out of anybody know what it's like to have a scary time and not know what I'm going to do and how things are going to get paid for and whatever. And sometimes as much as you want to rely on that God will take care of it, God's not paying the bills either. So, you got to figure out a way to do it. So let's talk about the logistics of the benefit. When is it? I've got it scrolling down here at the bottom. But let's talk about when is it? And, the Mile Away Bar and Grill. I'm always blown away by these places that are open to having them and doing those things too. So let's give those guys a little bit of love too.
Oh yeah, they're awesome. It's a big place, so we can get more people in. I'm really, screaming out, especially to our family, make a basket. Ask where you work. Every little bit. I don't care if it's a $5 gift card.
Yep.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah.
So don't think that, I only have this, or, hey, if you have a small business, we'll get your name out there. We'll mention you. Right. You can throw your cards on the table. Get your name out there. I know a lot of people that have little small businesses, crafts, whatever. We'll take it. Yep. You got it. We'll take it.
Yeah. I know what I'm going to do, Debbie, is I've got a lot of online contacts that I've used over the time when I was in charge of a Knights fundraiser. You'd be amazed at what you can get for a donation just by filling out an email form and what it's about. So I'll be working on that this week, and I'll have that stuff sent to you. And I've got a few other ideas of what we can do as well to maybe help you. But to your point, the free will donation is the best way to do it. And I know that I've went to some of these benefits before, and they've priced stuff so high. You're like, I can't even afford to do stuff like that. Right. So, even if you get a bunch of gift cards of $20 gift cards, and then you sell dollar raffle tickets to win those,
Right.
You can raise a lot of money. And
I have
like
a game, not a game really, but I have a way of even a t-shirt. I can make that worth $50.
Right. Yeah.
There's ways. So anything. I can't stress that enough.
Right.
The more the better. And the free will donation, at first I was like, I've never done one like that. But then I got to thinking, and people give what they can give.
They do. Yep.
And I want that expectation to be that just come
Right.
and support him, because, money is going to help him a lot, but so is just us being there.
Right.
Yeah,
Pat, what's it like to hear what's it like to hear people say things like that about you?
It's just we've always been pretty tight unit. I mean, our family has, and everybody does kind of look out for each other, and I so appreciate that, at this time. But I've always appreciated that. I've always appreciated being a part of it. I was always appreciated lending my support to other folks in the family that needed help. That's just, I think that's fantastic that's the way we are. I wouldn't want to change that for anything. We all got our warts, but we are generally incredibly supportive to one another, and I think we always have. I mean, even when we were kids, we'd slash at each other all the time over stuff, hacking at each other, but we still, nobody else could hack at us. That wasn't allowed.
Right. Got a couple comments here. Stephanie says, the owners of the Mileway are our family too. It's my cousin Jesse on my mom's side, family strong. That's super great.
Yeah.
And Scott, Charles Garcia, thanks for letting us use the bar. So it must be Charles Garcia that has the bar. That's super great. Jackie says she will make a basket, but won't be able to bring it till that day. And 100%, everyone was there to help with Rudy 100% when Rudy had his accident. So this family does come together. I always said, people would always ask me in 2017 when I got diagnosed, and mine was esophageal cancer. I went through chemo and radiation, and then surgery, and then recovery. And people always ask me, would always say, man, that must have been a really rough year for you. That must have been really rough. And I always tell people, I consider it the best year I've ever had, because I learned how blessed I was by having the family that and my friends that supported me and helped me out. And I learned how much I meant to people and people meant to me, and how precious things were. So you can look for blessings and things like that all the time. I know some people don't look at it that way, but that's just how I kind of have come to do things. And another reason why I go out of my way to help when we do these things too. So, but what else do you need for this, Debbie? I know you need people, but you need baskets. What are some other things that you're planning on doing?
Anything. I have some leads on some of the food. I think we're going to get that covered. But anything, like I said, anything is great. Also, spread the word, guys. Post it on your Facebook. That takes 2 seconds.
Right.
The event page is there. We're going to keep updating it as we get things in.
Yep.
We've gotten quite a few things already. I can't think of them all off the top of my head.
Sure.
But go to that page. We'll keep that page updated. You have any ideas, you can shoot them at me, Scott, anybody in the family, Paula, Missy, anybody. Pat, just let us know. And anything helps. And I know that it'll be great.
Yeah. Do you have do you happen to have a Venmo account or anything set up?
Now that is something that Pat and they can put theirs on there if they want to.
Okay.
I know Scott had talked about maybe one for the event itself. I don't know where we're at with that. But we're still really in the early stages.
Right. I'm only asking because if you can get me that, I can create a code for it, and then we can advertise it on our podcast, on our video podcast.
Perfect.
And we'll just have that stream down here at the bottom. And if people want to give that are listeners or whatever, and we'll do some shout outs, and we'll do what we can here on Three Beards Media. And then, of course, I've got some stuff that I've got set up too that I'm going to send some baskets and some other stuff. So, but November 4th, I unfortunately can't make it because I have an Iowa State Kansas game. But depending on the game time, I might be able to make a trek over there before or after. So we'll see what happens. But and my sister D, obviously, what you put out in the world most definitely comes back to you tenfold. So, and Scott plans on looking into it more after the holidays. So. That'd be great if you guys pass that on. We can get that advertised and put out as well.
Yeah, we'll update that page as often as we can to keep everybody in the know. Okay. And then, like I said, you guys all know how to get a hold of me. If somebody has a question, shoot them my number or my email.
Yep. Pat, how are you feeling right now? How are things going physically right now for you?
I think I just last Thursday I just had my last visit with the oncologist, and I moved into a phase where the blood numbers aren't changing anymore. Like they were improving. They're not changing. They've plateaued, so they're still not in the normal range. I'm still outside of what would be considered normal, but they've decided to go to a maintenance phase for the chemotherapy and do it once a month instead of once a week.
Okay.
Because they don't want to overuse it and then have it not work when they need it to work.
Sure.
So, but if things starts to regress, then they can always go back to the once a week to keep it back under control. But they don't want to lose the ability to do that. So they're doing this once a month just to maintain it where it's at, so I don't lose ground, because I can't really gain ground. Because it's not, the damage to the heart is the damage that's already occurred. There isn't anything they can do to fix it. So they can just keep it from happening further and faster. So that's kind of what they're aiming for. And it makes you tired. It was a lot easier this week not having to have the chemo treatment that I've had every week for the last 5 months. And my legs didn't puff up this weekend. I was able to stay awake for a while. They also give you steroids when you're doing this, and those steroids just make you balloon up. I can't even describe how much pain that causes in your legs, because it just makes them just so large, and it smashes your vessels in your legs, and it just makes it really uncomfortable. But this weekend was actually kind of nice because I didn't have that. I didn't have the steroids. I didn't have the chemo. I had a decent couple days. It was nice. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good today, I guess.
Well, that's good. Stephanie said we have multiple baskets already: free tattoo sessions, custom made signs, and Scentsy baskets, Star Wars stuff, Minnesota Vikings baskets. You lost me there. Sorry. So much more than I can remember up for grabs for the benefits. So, and that's super great. That's the key too, I think, is to have just a variety of stuff and different ideas and things like that. So, Debbie, I said you need baskets, whatever. What do you need day of help with? What can people help with that?
Of course, we're going to need people.
Yep.
Anybody that wants to help, we will put you to work. We promise. You won't be bored. We'll put you to work. We'll give you something to do.
That sounds. I mean, I've done work for Debbie before. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, they'll be calling me little Lana. by the end of the night. They won't.
I can think of worse things than being called.
Hey, I wear
Try
that,
being called-
with that badge proudly. I'm
Try
telling
being called Little Melvin. That's not any fun. Okay, we're gonna wrap up here, guys. And again, Stephanie, I got some crew from Tabor Manor Care Center coming to help too. So, and of course, Warthog Power.
Of course.
I don't.
If you know, you know.
That I blame that on Melvin too.
And it was Melvin. He
It
was
was.
the instigator. Yeah.
He was right. That's why I used to grow up and be scared of Lonnie and Joyce because they were so mean to him. But
Well, he was mean right back.
he was not very nice. You're right.
Someday
What we
I'll
all
talk
want.
about the story with the hammer and the clubhouse.
Okay, well then we'll have that. We'll save that for the next time.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys for coming on, Pat. All my love and support. I'll do what I can on my end here, and Three Beards Media will push some of this stuff out. We'll throw it on our Facebook page. I also have some contacts of some businesses and so on that I'll see if I can get. I'll see if I can get some baskets and stuff from them too. Jackie gives you her prayers. So, Caitlin, do you have anything to finalize or add?
No, just that I'm thinking of you, and I will talk with my dad after this to discuss some things that I can do to help as well. So you're in my prayers, and Debbie, thank you so much for putting this together, and everyone else who's helping.
I was going to say,
it's just so amazing. I know it's not just
definitely
you.
a team effort.
Oh, yeah.
It will not happen with just one person.
No.
We need everybody. And I'm going to get off of here, but Pat, I love you, and we got you.
Yep. And just want to show everybody, this is the flyer. Gives you Sloppy Joe lunch, free will donation, auction, 50-50, bake sale, other donations at the Mile Away Bar and Grill on November 4th. So we're going to close out of here, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great night.
Love you all too. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.